Join Bev Lazar, spiritual mentor, Reiki master, psychic medium, with Shelly Greenlaw, doula, yogi, and intuitive energy healer. Two sisters walking the path of spirit to share their experience and advice in all things energy, intuition, and beyond. The Empath Sisters.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Empath Sisters. I'm Shelly.
Hey everyone, it's Bev.
And we have exciting guests today.
Yes, we sure do. So excited.
So excited. We had the privilege, the honor to be on their podcast when they first came out, and it was only fair and just have them on ours as well. And it is the Basic Banter for Witches.
Woo! We're back. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
We made it.
We made it. My name is Jessica. Woo.
My name is Brittany.
Thanks for having us, guys. I was
so
thinking as you're doing the intro, I was like, this is so bizarre that like usually we're the ones interviewing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have anything prepared. I'm like, oh my.
And literally, I'm just like, we're
like
so
padding.
famous.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't have my notepad ready. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but
Well, now you know what it's like for us.
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. No.
But
It's
welcome.
so fun. Yes.
Welcome. So
Yes,
we're just
welcome.
super excited to have you both on. We've always just love your podcast as well. We love you as people. You're
Absolutely
like sisters to us too, and we just love you so much. And just not even that, like I feel like we just are like sisters. We're all sisters, and
Absolutely.
it's great. I love it.
I agree. It's
so
like
much.
an easy friendship. I feel like it's just like natural, very natural. So we feel the exact same about you guys. You're wonderful people.
It was
Love
just fate. It was absolute fate that we'd all.
I know, right? And even
absolutely.
the start of Empath Sisters, when I got that message to podcast with Shelly together, was when I was working with Brittany. It was her session that I was with her. And so it was just like, ding, like, it's just so crazy and so amazing to me how everything just lines up. It's just all divine timing, and it's just amazing.
How
And
it
I
connects,
just
just all of
Love it.
us, right? So
absolutely. And so it just kind of, it's just this whole cool sister circle.
Literally.
So much.
Full circle, always.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny,
Yeah.
like, because you guys obviously, knew each other before, Shelly and I, but now Shelly and I have our own little conversations on the side. It's like,
Nice.
mingle. I love it.
we
Yeah.
always like interconnect, and it just I love
Yes.
it so much. And
Yeah.
it was only proper, or whatever the word is, to have you guys on our show, because we want to promote you guys and what you guys are
Absolutely.
all about.
Thank you.
So whoever wants to go first, I don't know, but just introduce yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Do you wanna go
Tell us
first,
how you
Britt?
came about
Yeah.
Basic
Okay.
Banter.
Do it, Britt.
So, sorry for coughing, guys. So Jessica and I have been doing the podcast now for almost a year.
Amazing.
We had decided, I would say, well, we've spoke about this before, but we were inspired from you guys doing your podcasting together, because like it just really connects your sisterly bond. And Jessica and I could talk 4 hours about anything. And we have been told for so many years, like, maybe you guys should start a YouTube channel. Like, you guys are funny. And we're like, we don't think we're funny, but if that makes,
Oh my God,
if that
you
makes
guys are funny.
then
Oh,
that's
thank you.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
exactly so great. So we were inspired obviously from your podcast, but what really put it in motion is when Jessica had decided she was making the move to Ireland last year.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay, we need to do something to make sure that her and I stay connected as regular as possible. Not that we don't FaceTime each other every day, but like
it kept, yes.
So it was just something that I was like, we're interested in like the fun things and whatever comes up that we want to learn more about. And we can just be our silly selves. And at the end of the day, it was something that we wanted to do for us. And if anyone else wanted to listen, we're like, sweet, that's a bonus.
Yeah, we totally get that.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a baby. We've talked about it for years, but it was just like, I don't know. And then, once like, basically, I think I like, when was it? I don't know. I think I booked my ticket or something like that, like a big major move in our like moving journey and mine and like my family's, that I was like, Kate, I'm buying the equipment today. Do you mean like I'm ordering it? We're going to do it. Because if we have it, we're going to do it. And then at that point, then we just started making content. And again, it was like, we had to work through, the bumps in the beginning. And
yes,
we understand.
Like, there's episodes that'll never make the light of day. Never.
We have a pilot episode that no one will ever hear.
We're like, no, like literally, I'm like, that was awful. Actually, I think there's only 2.5.
Yeah,
I think we like planned one, but like enough, But no, it's so it keeps us kind of chatting about more than just how much we miss each other. Do you know what I mean? So it keeps our relationship, brought it to a new level, right? And again, sisters,
sure.
but I'm Jessica and I live in Ireland, and I don't know if Brittany even introduced yourself. You're just talking about
hi, I'm Brittany. Hi, I'm Brittany.
Yes,
I live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
We're sisters.
And they're sisters.
Yeah.
Look at that circle back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so then what is your podcast about? Like, what exactly do you guys talk
banter about?
Yeah,
we like chat about, like, basically we think of topics, but we're like a metaphysical spiritual podcast, I guess, is like the short term. But in that we've had like a variety of topics that have sparked interest for us, that we're like, hey, if it's not just us, like other people might have these questions too. So we made like a list of the stuff what we wanted to learn about, and picked out some special guests that could help us kind of like dive into the topics, or we do our own research. So we talk about everything from palm reading to, all the things. We did tea leaf reading. We do like everything. So, and we're not stopping. There's still things that come out, and
our list is constantly growing
growing.
Awesome.
So it's great because it's like, I think it's kind of like the beginner's guide to like the metaphysical, because it is like you can start on any episode and not like feel like you missed anything. But again, each episode's going to be specific to what you might want to learn.
Totally. And the people that are drawn to those areas, or maybe are down these rabbit holes, look for certain things or more information in those areas as well. So it's nice that it's not just this like continuation. It's just here, and these are all the things, and I can say, I know there was one episode that I have not yet listened to of yours. And I only caught a blip of it on Instagram when you play a little reel of it or whatever. And it was on wish chips. And I was I know. My God, I remember wish chips.
And so like the quick backstory about that is Jessica and I were doing like these good luck charms, and I had told her the day before we podcasted, I was like, I have one, but I cannot tell you it until we're on the podcast together. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was my genuine reaction, was like, oh my God. Yeah.
How do you forget about wish chips?
I know, right? They're a big part of my life when I was growing up. Every sleepover I went to,
Like, Shelly, do you remember wish chips? I don't know if you heard that episode or not, but
I didn't. No, I was going to say I haven't listened to that one either. But I do know about wish chips, but not only just wish chips. Like, I find like any chip. Well, a lot of my chips are hearts. It's weird.
Hearts, interesting.
See, that is cool. Yeah. That is something I've never heard of before.
Yeah,
mine are always horses. What? I'm just kidding.
You had me for it. I was just like, what?
And I'm like, Brittany,
what chips are you eating?
What?
You get your chips from Cowtown?
Yeah.
Cowtown. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but like it just seems to be our theme in our family, like my immediate family. So like Dwayne or my kids, because even my daughter Dallas, she just sent me a photo of a heart chip, and it's just something we usually get. It's so weird, but yes, I do know about wish chips.
I know, it's something that it just popped into my head, and I was like, this is exciting. I have to say it. And there's been, like when Bev reached out, and there was a couple more that are like, oh yeah, that's what I remember for sure. And now every time I like eat a bag of chips, which is often, I'm just like, oh, I was like, do I want to
Make a wish?
No, I just want
Make
to
a wish. I just want to eat it. Exactly.
So actually,
I wish for there to be more of those.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially your favorite ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for those that are listening that don't know what wish chips are, do you want to give a little bit of
Sure. It's a chip that is like folded over on itself.
Yeah.
It's like a big old, like a, I don't know, like a clamshell. And it's like,
basically.
I don't know, like it's
And
like,
so-
yeah.
And when we were kids, and again, I'm not sure. I don't even know who told us it. It was just
This
one
is
of those things.
folklore. This
Yes,
is
it's
90s folklore.
that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Told you
Totally.
from somebody else. Anyways, and so what I was taught was when you have a wish chip, you're supposed to chew it the amount of times that you are of that age. So if you were 10, you chew it 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
You're making your wish, you swallow it.
God, could you imagine doing it now? I'm
Well, that's the thing. The chip would just be like
Mush.
It'd be like liquid.
There'd be nothing left. Yeah, exactly. I know.
But-
and I like went up like thinking that it was you chew it 10 times. But
Right.
then that's saying it sounds easy, but also like 10 times isn't really like when you're
Sometimes
going like
it's
this, you're
not
like,
done.
oh, that's not done. You need more chew time.
I know. So then you have to find another wish because you're like, damn, that wish ain't coming true.
Exactly. Where's the next one?
Choke that
Exactly.
chip down. Yeah.
Must have been biting off more than you can chew.
Yeah. That's
maybe.
it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So
Oh
what
my
would
gosh,
be
I loved it.
enough amount, do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
It's tough to say. Like it depends on how big the
chip
wish
is
chip
gone?
is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
If the
sometimes
chip is like pretty like insane,
Big
'cause,
wish
like,
chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know. I
yeah.
would say, yeah, I don't know. I
Then
think
you're
as
like-
long as you've got your intention behind your wish, it's like,
yeah.
I think
Right.
that's
That's
more
a good
important than the
idea.
number of chews. But, you know,
I
as
think
a
so,
10-year-old
yeah.
child, you're like, I'm going to chew it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. As a 10-year-old kid, you're just like the rules. There's the wish
Yeah,
is
follow
not
the
coming
rules.
true unless the
Exactly.
rules are in place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't we see if there was, because I went to YouTube, as I don't know if this is in the clip or not, but I went to YouTube during the episode because I'm like, wish chips, tell me about it. And
Yeah.
it was like, you can't use your thumb to pick
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
it's in
So
the.
you have to like
yeah.
pick it up with your
Yeah.
finger and your middle finger.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I'm like,
That's so funny.
so no
Fair
wonder
enough.
none of our wishes are coming true because we're not going in there with this. Like we're going in with a handful.
whole
I'm
time.
getting those chips. Exactly.
I'm sorry, but
I-
who picks chips up without their thumb?
Exactly. I'm like, what?
Just the
weird.
wish chip though. Just the wish
Just
chip.
the wish
You gotta
chip, you're
go
like-
with the little pincer.
They're like non
I had to dig through the bag and just like,
That's just weird.
No.
I'd have to say
Yeah.
probably one of my wishes came true. And it was probably when I was 10 and the chip
I
was
mean-
too big. And I probably wished, damn, I wish I was 25.
Oh.
I had enough chews for my chip.
enough chews. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah.
maybe that could have been one of them that
I
actually came
love it.
true. But
Well, hey.
and that's right.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
25, everyone. So just
Well, there you
remember
go.
that.
That's
If they're
exactly it.
called- If they really are wish chips and they are called wish chips for that reason, how come
Mhm.
most of us don't get our wishes told? Like,
Well, that's
The thumbs.
you know. I
It's
think it
the
all goes
thumbs.
back
Wow,
to
that's-
manifesting.
Exactly. The thumbs
Yeah,
just got in the way.
I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn thumbs. Yeah. But yeah, so that's, I mean, one of the topics that we talk about is like lucky charms and like things
Yeah.
in our everyday lives that
Yeah.
we can manifest. But yeah, you can look through all of our episodes. I think we've got like
Yeah.
about 30 some episodes out
I
right
think
now,
so.
32, 33 maybe.
Wow.
But yeah, on a
It's a big
variety
library.
of topics. Yeah, it's been
Yes.
really great, very broad, but
33.
like, oh, is it 33? Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's just one of them. So yeah, manifesting, I know that.
And I do know
Mhm.
one thing that you guys do every episode is you always pull a card,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was thinking about that today actually, and like
Mhm.
because I'm on TikTok and I like look, and actually Shelly, you do it as well. You do like collective reading,
Yep.
and I don't know why, but I never post our little clips of our readings. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
half of the collective who this is for is probably not even getting the message. I'm like, what the fuck? Pardon my language. I'm so sorry. Can I swear on your
Fine.
podcast?
You
Yeah,
can
We
swear.
gotta
Yes,
swear. We're gonna swear.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I don't even know if I've sworn before that, but anyways, yeah. But I'm
Oh.
like, that I should be doing that. Like again, like obviously our listeners get that message, but if it's not for
Yes.
them, right? We do a collective for for
Yeah.
everybody. So
But we might as well go
That's
back
awesome.
and go through all those episodes and just
Yeah,
post
now she's
all
gonna
those to
do that.
TikTok.
She's gonna be like,
I'm gonna like
Yeah, our
you
TikTok
betcha.
ratings are gonna go through the roof.
Ta-da! Exactly.
Ta-da. Are you
What we
guys going
doing?
to pull a reading or a card for our episode today?
I
We
would love
sure
to.
can.
Absolutely.
That'd be amazing. We would love for you to do that.
You just let us know when and we will do it.
When and what. And we are ready to go. Always ready for reading.
We're always ready.
Yeah, I already staged this room. We're ready.
I haven't saged yet, but I'm looking at my sage spray. So I'm like,
so that
I'll get you in a minute. Exactly. Mentally, I've sprayed this room.
That's right.
With purpose.
Yes. Yeah, no, we love doing that. That's just something
we would love that for sure. And when we get closer to the end of our talk here, but what I was going to ask was, so what, now that we know a little bit about that and how come you made this podcast and how you're doing all the things, could you say, like, is it because both of you are intuitive, or, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, are you,
what led you into the metaphysical talks?
Britt, you start, because you are the catalyst behind all this.
So Jessica and I've talked about it a little bit on our episodes before, but there had been stuff that has happened to us like way back, like when we were kids.
Okay.
And a lot of things that we wouldn't pay close enough attention to, like moments that, like, oh gosh, I'll do a really quick story. There was one time I had slept in as a kid, and I knew, like, Jessica and our brother Matthew were watching TV in the living room. My mom was in the kitchen. I was just hanging out in my room, and we're on the same floor. And I was sleeping, and I, excuse me, I had heard a like woman scream, and I was like, oh, that's a weird thing. That must be from the TV show or whatever. So I got up, and I'm starting to walk down the hallway. And as I'm walking down the hallway, there's a linen closet to my right, and the door happens to be open. And while I'm walking, all of a sudden, a giant hand or snake comes at me super fast, and I hit the ground because I didn't know what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
And I remember screaming, and I was bawling right away because I was like, something just tried to attack me. And my mom, this is the moment that was like, okay, that's something that's not right, was how my mom reacted. Because she's like, oh my God, what happened? And she's like, she wouldn't even put her hands in there. She took a stick and like tried to poke around in there because she thought something actually was trying to get at me.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So if you are that freaked out, and I know something just tried to grab me. So I don't know what the hell just happened there.
Yeah. Scary.
That was one instance. And then over the years, there's just been other things that would come up, like, like manifesting was such a big thing. Like I remember channeling that law of attraction where you're like, this is going to be and things would come up where I'm like, ooh, that's fun. I like that. And Jessica and I would say more so for myself, but Jessica, I'm going to include you in this too, that we were always drawn to shows that were like more on like the supernatural side or metaphysical, because they're just so interesting. It just seemed like there's so much more.
Yes.
So, and then it took until I was a bit older where I was referred to Bev through a friend of mine. Her name's Kelsey. And she's just like, if you think you've had Reiki before, you have not had Reiki before. And that's just that. So I was like, okay. I'm game.
That's funny.
Like, let's do it. Sign me up.
Oh my gosh.
And with our session with me and Bev, that's when you had suggested, like, have you ever thought about like looking into spiritual gifts and like working on your intuitive skills and all that? And that was kind of the jumping off point that I'm like, what am I waiting for? There's actually something that could do it. Let's go for it. And like every class I would come back home, and I was living with Jessica at the time. Something like that. And
you were living with me.
Yeah. And Jessica would be like, okay, tell me everything. What did you learn today?
So what'd you learn?
So I would have like my class with them, and then I'd come back and practice everything on Jessica.
Literally it was
That's
awesome.
Like,
so let's digest it all. And you're like, this is what we're doing tonight, this is what we're doing, because it was you and two other ladies, I think, right, Brittany? Like it was a small class. But it was like, I remember she was picking out the photos for it, and like, take the class. For anybody listening, take the class. It's amazing.
She has a class coming up.
Yes, she does.
I don't know where we are. I don't know where this is coming up. But she has a class coming up.
Exactly. So when Brittany was coming home from these classes, like obviously I was so interested in what was happening there too. And Brittany had a couple of oracle decks, I believe.
Yeah,
you had oracle.
I didn't have any tarot yet.
No. So she I would say, can you pull for me? Can you pull for me? Can you pull for me? And then eventually she's like, well, I could teach you how to do it. I was like, you can. And then that was like what kind of kicked down the door for me, because I've always had like the same interests, like Brittany had said, like, and I think as like young people, we have this habit of explaining it away. Do you know what I mean? Our ego is like, well, that's silly, you know, even though we know it's not silly. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, we didn't know it was possible until we reached this realm, right? Or we've crossed over to this part of our lives, right? So so it was like, once I started with that, so tarot was like my first thing, and I just kind of really kind of dug into that, and then I took Bev's course, and that was like phenomenal as well. I really liked that, like you could kind of try all of different things, do you know what I mean? And then I think from there I was able to kind of not fine tune my gifts. I know I'm still working on mine specifically, but it was nice to like, you know, kind of see what was the stronger one, which is the weaker one of my own gifts, and how to kind of.
Well, and Jessica, I feel like part of why you jumped off and you're like, yeah, I'm ready, is because our grandma who had passed away kept at me every day. She would be bugging me about Jessica, and I'd pull the same card for Jessica, and our ongoing joke is Jessica always gets the mother card. She always gets like, she's gonna have kids, she's gonna have more. Jessica's like, no, I'm not ready. And the cards and grandma are like, actually you are. Right. So when Jessica got pregnant, she's like, I feel like you've told me this, you may have told us to Bev too, but you felt like that much more charged up intuitively that you're like, okay, I think we're ready to keep going.
It is funny because I had already had my son at that point when this happened, and I was not yet pregnant with my daughter. And it was like December, I think. I don't know. It sounds about right. And Brittany would get these like dizzy spells, and like they wouldn't pass until she like got the message out, kind of thing. So we were pulling cards at my kitchen table, and she's just like, "You need to have a baby." She's like, "Oh, okay, thanks." And I'm like, "Okay, like aggressive much."
And then,
but it was like,
that does not happen. That hasn't really happened since. But like Grandma Shirley was just like, "Hey,"
and because grandma had just passed, I think like the month before.
A
month before, and it was like, you need to have a baby.
She's like, it's like she was hanging around my shoulders, like giving me a bear hug, being like, just tell her.
And then I got pregnant with Maria that February, like when we decided to try, kind of thing. It worked out that we were able to get pregnant right away. But it was like, I think it was that experience, and then having it happen the way it did, and I took the course while I was pregnant. I think I took the course while I was pregnant.
I think so.
That's when I first met you too, Jess. Was
I pregnant?
You were pregnant. Yep.
No, you weren't pregnant when you took the course.
No, I think I had her already. I had Maria already. Okay,
good.
I was just thinking, I'm like, no, I remember like, I love your chairs. I was actually for your chairs at your studio, like the prop up ones that like give you more time.
I found those on Amazon, Jessica. I'll send it to you.
Thank you, because I was telling Brian, like, because we like to sit in front of the fireplace here, but it's just like the back of. Anyways, I'm like,
I know. I'm also obsessed with
chairs.
So I found them on Amazon, and I'm gonna send them.
Fantastic. Definitely gonna add to cart later. Sorry, total side note. That is a lot of our banter as well. We should say, but we banter about all the things. We go here and then we come back, and then we go there and we come back. So, but
awesome. So we don't know anything about that at all, do we, Bev?
No, not at all.
Well,
I don't see shiny things.
No squirrel moments over here.
No, never. What's a squirrel?
Well, with Jessica too, one of the things that we found, because my grandma was so strong until Maria was born, is we think that my grandma is now actually reincarnate in Maria. Because she's got the same eye, like her, the way that her eyes are. It's just like it was like instant. Grandma hasn't come to me since.
I gotta get back in there.
That's probably why she was
coming back.
Why she was probably like, hurry the hell up, I want to come back.
Literally
for her to get on it.
And like, all that aside, my mom has always been like, she just reminds me so much of your grandma Shirley. I was like, I know. Like, she's a firecracker. Like,
she is.
Like, we think we know our grandma. Oh no. Like, Maria's Shirley 2.0. So
buckle up, world. She's gonna take over.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What is it? Is your grandma's name in Maria's name?
It's not actually.
It's not? Okay.
No, I only had one girl name, and it was Maria, and that's my mom's mom. And so Maria Janet Doreen Murphy is her name for all the things. So Janet is my husband's mom. Doreen is my mom, but also his mom's mom. So we got the moms and the mom's moms. Cool. So it happened to work out. I was like, perfect. And I've always loved Maria. I'm sorry, Grandma Shirley, but Shirley wasn't gonna Murphy. I just couldn't.
I'm sure I'm sure she's like, it doesn't matter because I'm Shirley 2.0
back anyway.
and
Yeah,
I can have whatever name you want me to have.
Exactly. I am more evolved than a name. Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's like, no one will know now when I get away with all the stuff I didn't get away
That's
with.
right.
Exactly. Seriously. Yeah.
Oh,
Mischievous girl for sure. Yeah.
That is so amazing. Oh my gosh, I love that. So you guys have had a lot of unexplainable spiritual experiences growing up, you'd say then?
Yeah, I would say so. Like
in hindsight, probably more than we realize. I think because we were so into like the paranormal and like the metaphysical that like it didn't necessarily scare us, but I think we were always like suspicious that there was more going on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it was like there probably
Jessica,
is something going on over there, but we don't know how to see it yet.
Do you remember the door from downstairs, like what's Matt or whatever, that bedroom downstairs that used to be mine, where the door would just open by itself no matter how hard you closed it?
No, I don't. But I believe you.
Blockout moment.
She's like,
our brother experienced a lot of that apparently on our other episode with him.
Yeah,
his whole face was just like, whoa. Like you just literally saw it all come back to him, and it was like,
oh my god, you don't remember that?
So awesome. Oh,
I mean, it was my room too, but I never like.
Well, it always came up on me. I'd close the door all the time, and they'd just be like,
it was probably like, Brittany, you're too moody. Yeah, keep that door open. No, I don't know. Like I was like, I don't know.
Well, what I'd have to say about energy like that, as you know, looking back, is that as we talk about, Shelly and I have talked about lower and low vibrational energy and higher vibrational energy. Yes. And so, and the differences in feeling that. And so even as a kid, I'm sure there's lots of times that the energy didn't bother you. It didn't feel like a low vibrational energy where it was like, ugh, you know, like what is creepy, what's happening. So however, maybe for Brittany with the door, it'd be like, you know, maybe that was the feeling for her, but for you, it was just, maybe it didn't even affect you, that it felt fine for you. And so it was just something you didn't pick up on because it just felt fine.
Exactly. So, I wasn't like, the energy didn't bother me. And you're right. Like I was suspected that there was more, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm fine though. Like I'm not like frightened.
Exactly. And so sometimes I just want to point out, sometimes people are not, it's not that you're not aware. Sometimes you're just, you're aware, but it's just fine for you. Like it's okay. It's a vibration that you can be around and it doesn't affect you. So it might have been like a loved one that was around and you're like, that doesn't bother me because it feels fine. You don't feel invaded, and feel spooked out or whatever. Right. And,
totally.
And so for the other ones where it would be like, okay, that typically is where people notice things, and that's why there can be that bad rap, right? It's like, well, this is happening, it's freaking me out, like what, you know, and it really gives that that bad rap on on
that like everything that happens is scary. It's like it's not always scary.
It's not always scary. And this might have happened to so many children, you know, but just not really having that awareness, or also being supported in that awareness.
Exactly.
So,
being supported is 100%, because we're not supported, like Bev and I. So we were having that already, not supportive, and fear fact in that, right? So you add that in there, of course it's going to be a different vibration. But I was going to say as well, it's no different when Bev said a different rap, right? So it's like, you know, for me, I love going to cemeteries, right? I find totally the vibration, where some people are like, cemeteries, are you crazy? Like
they just think it's all bad,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, of the rap, and it has something to do with the vibration as well.
Totally.
So it's
and it's like not everybody at the cemetery were bad. Like those people are still the same souls. They're still the same. So
why is it bad because they're buried there, right? Like
it's being so judgmental, you know. It's just like you're all scary people,
right?
But it can feel scary also because there's more energy. So then therefore, if you're very sensitive, it can feel very, very intense.
That's probably
and you might not have the awareness of going, what intensity is that? Is it scary intensity, or is it just intensity of a lot of high vibrational energy?
Right? Totally. It's like, it reminds me of like the difference between like pressure and pain. And this is like my dentist background is like, but does it hurt, or does it just feel like pressure? Right. So is it like uncomfortable? Is it scary, or is it just a little overwhelming? Is it just, I mean, what's that difference between overwhelming and terrified? Right. So
I always say it's pain. I don't even care if it's pressure. I'm like, I feel it. Give me some more freezing. Get it out of my mouth. She's like, Bev, is it pressure? I'm like, it's pain. Like,
get away from me.
Exactly. She's like, I'm just touching your gum. Yeah. There's nothing in your mouth.
Really? Yeah. She probably pretends to give me extra freezing. She's probably like, here's the second needle. You won't feel it. We're just pretending.
She just has like the water gun in there pressing.
Just like, oh yes.
I'm going to start watching now, actually. I'm going to be like, what are you putting in my mouth?
Oh, God, what is that?
That's so funny.
So that's part of the reason probably why you, like Bev said, it's why you probably didn't have that same vibration feeling as Brittany did, right? And we all have obviously different, you know, we're all a different vibration, obviously, and different, and people take it differently as well. Like,
for sure. And as kids, you're so open.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're open, a lot of kids are, then there's all kinds of energy.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's the thing. You guys bring up a really good point. Like Jessica and I don't know if you're going to remember this, Jessica, but when we were kids, it's a pretty big moment in our life. So you should hopefully remember. We were at Grandma and Grandpa's. And I don't know if you remember when the guy had died across the street in the street. Yeah. Yes. So when that happened, it was
he had a heart attack. He like
tripped over his trailer hitch.
Yeah, and he fell and he went cardiac arrest, and like mom and dad were doing CPR. We were young. Like I think I was
dramatic.
But I remember being outside. Yeah, that's the thing. I remember
we were outside.
I was
in the vicinity.
Yeah, we both were, because I remember watching and seeing him down and all that, but I didn't feel scared, which was crazy.
No. It was like, I was just like happening. Yeah,
I was like, okay, well, that's okay. Everything's fine. But I remember everyone else like freaking out around us, but I never felt any bit nervous, scared, upset, where I'm like, oh no, that's
so there I would love to ask you a question. Looking back now on that, one, do you feel now, knowing that you're intuitive and you're sensitive and all the things of where you are now in your life, looking back, one, would it be, no, I feel like I had a knowing, like that this was going to happen, like this happening was part of his journey, that this was just what was unfolding and you were just watching it? Or was it two and it was like survival, just watch?
I don't think it was survival, not my part anyways.
Like
I think it was like an observation, like this is
he's supposed to
life
move
unfolding. That was just how it was. You know.
It was. And I just, when I think about it, it's just so wild seeing like when the girl came into the house like hysterical, and like seeing how her family were. But I remember Jessica and I standing there watching from the yard, being like
we're outside. Wow. Like I remember that like clear as day, standing there like watching, and we're like,
but not
again,
upset,
like, you know,
not like
and again,
out,
we were just observing and just like absorbing that this is how life begins and ends.
Exactly.
And that should be traumatic to a lot of people, because like it if you, I don't want to describe it just in case somebody's queasy, Bev.
Yeah.
but you know,
if I fall out of screen, you'll know what happened.
But you know, from how he was laying, that should have been a moment of like, oh my God, that's so traumatic, but it didn't feel that way.
It didn't feel that way. Yeah. Which is, I mean, maybe it was just our reaction to the circumstances. Like we already knew what was going to happen.
And unfortunately, we've had a lot of death in our family over the years. So like going to funerals were as often as going to weddings in our family.
Yeah.
So
if not more frequent, I feel like, unfortunately, right? But I mean, we're the youngest of like a really big family, right? Like like my Matthew's like my brother, or our brother is 29, and we're the babies of both sides. So it's like everybody else. I think our oldest cousin is in her like late 40s now,
at least.
And like at least, and like we got a big family anyways. So but I was gonna take it back to like, where was I going with this? How like people can observe and read on different vibrations and, you know, get that different sensation. So Brittany was, you know, terrified by one and I wasn't. But I think that comes across in our skills and abilities now too, you know, the way that we've developed. So like the things like Brittany and I will do readings together, and like she'll see or feel one thing and I'll feel something completely different, but it always ties together somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know what I mean? But it's not like, it's not themed, but like Brittany can see, I don't want to say further, but in a different perspective into some ways. And, you know, her gifts are different. She speaks with spirit differently than I communicate with spirit. And I think that that's where, again, that's on that vibrational level is where,
that's why she's the yin to my yang.
Exactly. Yeah, like literally our gifts are nowhere near the same. It's just they complement each other. And I know we just had Shelly on and I'm like, you guys, you do the same thing. You guys do the same thing.
It's the power duo.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so neat to like the more perspective, the more that you change vibrationally and you start to unlayer and you start to see more and more as you move through your journey. It's really neat to look back and have those moments of like, wow, that's really, really cool. And for some, and it's going back to even your story, it just goes to show, you know, the differences of consciousness of for some and some that it's to know that everybody is here having their own journey and they're all at a different place. And so some children will be at that more of a 3D state and not aware. And that would be very traumatic for them because it's like, oh my God, now there's this awareness of like, you can die here. Like I might die. You might leave me. Or, you know, it's just that we start to get that fear of dying, and that can start at a very young age. And then there are children who come here on a different consciousness vibration level. And they're just like, well, they're just going to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like it's okay. It's not traumatic. They totally understand life.
Yeah.
And why, and that they're here incarnating, you know, kind of a thing. Right. So it's just,
and it's funny you say that because my two granddaughters,
Mm-hmm.
they're what you just described. So my oldest is very, like, we just had a conversation the other night, actually, because there's been activity in their house. I won't get into it, but anyway, there's
please get into it.
It's been actually very, like, to me, it's funny, haha, because
of course.
I love it.
Because we're just used to it. But
can't keep us in suspense,
I'm just going to say is that we had this conversation about it because I said to her, hey, Addie, I heard that this was happening, blah, blah, blah. And she said, yeah, Omi, she goes, she's very open. Like she's so comfortable with it.
It's her language.
It's her thing. Yeah. And for her and I to talk about it, she's okay about talking about it. Open.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Say like, no, I don't care if they, you know, because like I'll say, well, you better make sure mommy sages, you know, this and that. And we'll have like, yeah, that's okay, but they can still stay around. They just don't need to do the things that they're doing. And I go, exactly. You know, and that's just how we talk. Yeah. My other granddaughter, Kate, is the other child where she's very like, yeah, it happens, but I don't want to talk about it. Like it's something that we don't
not ready for it yet.
It scares her. She just doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah, she just she knows that there's spiritual stuff. She's like that, but at the same time, she's not like Addie, where Addie can be very open.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And they're 8 and 7, so they're already in that. You know,
I love
that open zone. Actually, Brittany, I haven't even told you this.
Since we're here,
not last night. I know this is an exclusive story. Oh
I love it. Only here on Empath Sisters.
I think it was two or 3 nights ago. Colin had gone into whenever we were podcasting last. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I was up late doing whatever I was doing. Yeah, and Colin was in our bed, like, so we have a bed across the hall, so he ran out of his bed, ran into our bed. Ryan was there, and he before he came into bed, he goes, Daddy, nanny in the hall. And like, no nannies live in this house, no grandmas live in this house. And so Ryan's like, what do you mean? Like nanny in the hall? Oh, nanny there. And he like goes into the hallway and he like points at granddad's door, and Ryan's like, nanny there, their nanny. And we're like, okay. So Ryan is like a little spooked by this. He's very understanding.
He's very open, but he's also just like,
he's just like, whoa, like it's too much, right? Like, so he's like, I'm scared. I'm like, don't be scared, right? I said, that's exciting. I said, oh my gosh, I wonder which nanny it is. I'm like, what if it's like, it could be Gary's dad, my father-in-law. I'm like, what if it's like my grandma? Like, oh my gosh, I'm obviously way too excited about it. But I'm like, but Colin is 3.5, and I'm like, starting, like, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I bet you are.
But
dive in.
That's not the first time. Do you remember this years ago, or not years ago? He's only 3.5.
He's only 3.
He's an old soul, though. That's why you said that.
Yes.
So, when you guys were living here, me and Colin were playing in his room at my mom's house, and we're playing with toys and whatever. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, Colin just like gets up and he like turns to the side and he just like starts like talking to nothing, obviously. And I'm just like, okay. Cool. I was like, as long as, but he was like happy and he like waved and like just went on.
He was a happy guy.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
As long as you feel good about this.
Totally. We used to see orbs in his room all the time too, like on our monitor. Like it was, you know, the difference between an orb and like a dust particle, but it was like, no, these are like orbs, and they're just like, and I can't remember if I pulled cards or if I was asking my pendulum. Oh no, we had a local psychic on. What's her name? Angela Gale. Because it was at my house as well. And she's like, I took Colin upstairs, put him in bed, and we had kind of already started. And she's like, oh, like once you went up there, like 2 ladies followed you. And I was like, oh, and they didn't come down. Like, it's the grandmas. I don't know which one, but like I figured, so we've, you know, had that confirmation that like he was the first grandbaby of like our, like the Chiz side of things. So I feel like, you know.
Well, my grandson is the same way. He literally scares the crap out of my daughter because he talks to people.
I love it.
He's around, he'll be waving, and my daughter will be like, okay, they're here, but I don't want them to be here. She's like,
you're like putting that bubble on, you're like, but just keep him safe. He's not going into anyone's TVs, guys.
Exactly.
He's not even 2, and he's already, you know, like I already knew he was doing it earlier, but now as he's growing, he's noticing them more and more, right? And so he'll be sitting having lunch, and he'll just turn to the side to himself and go, hi, you know, like, oh, like they just showed up.
Oh, they came for supper, or they came for lunch. Exactly. Totally. Oh, I love it. Yeah, I understand how it can be like scary because we can't control that part of we can't,
you don't get to see what they see.
Well, exactly, right? Our mind can't comprehend that there's like that they can see, but we can't, or you know, not be able to see that person sitting beside that person. Right?
Yes, exactly. And that's not one of my gifts, is that seeing, you know, is, so I know that there's somebody there, but I wish I could see you, and I wish I could, you know, help translate what's happening here. But but I always say, like, when Colin is in that like playful state, or like with Maria even too, I talk to spirit, I talk to, you know, our loved ones, and like, or friends who've passed on or whichever. And I'm like, oh, you know, so-and-so's here, or, you know, oh, we would have been such good friends. I wish we could get, you know, like it's, you know, because I want them to know that, again, they shouldn't be afraid of death. They shouldn't be afraid of what happens in life. And it's no matter where we end up going, it's we're always together in spirit, I think.
Right.
So they're just trying to normalize it for them and support them.
Yes. Exactly.
Which is fine. And for the parents, so for the children that are like that, and parents who are afraid, it's just because also, as they're the adult, if they've grown, you know, growing up, they might have not been supported, or what they have seen, it's that rap again, where it's like, it's a negative, scary thing.
Yes.
And so if you don't understand and you're educated in it, or have had bad experiences yourself and kind of shut that door, and then all of a sudden your kid is doing it, then it's like, oh my God. And if you don't understand it and know about it, then for sure it's going to freak you out, because you're going to think your kid is open to like all kinds of things, like what's going to happen to my kid? Is there something bad that's going to happen? And so it creates a lot of fear, which of course fear isn't great. It's not a great vibration anyway. So what I would say is like, educate yourself. The more you know about it, it's actually not scary. So because you know what, there's a lot of parents now that are having babies, and they are the ones that are waking up and who are here to pave the way for their children, because these children that are coming are so gifted. It's insane. So
exactly. And like, I know Brittany was probably going to think the same thing here, but like growing up, we were raised very Catholic, and like went, you know, did the whole route of Catholicism and that. And it was just not something that was supported, because it is deemed like devil work. It's like that cannot happen.
Jessica, do you remember ever being told that ghosts weren't real? Because I never was told that.
Oh yeah, we were.
See, like, no, I never heard the ghost thing, but it was like the alternative to heaven, the alternative to hell, the reincarnation of it all. Like I remember, like, we had a Christian ethics class in high school, and it was like, these are what the other the other religions practice, but we're Catholic, and this is what we, there's heaven or hell, and that's that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's like,
Fair.
there was no blur. There was no gray area. There was no alternative to God,
Fair.
and that's where I think it was like, not you're scared out of us, but it was like, we weren't supported in that belief from a young age because there was no, and that, of course, that is, we've had to go through that route, right? We've had to go through that system to get where we are now, to kind of get that perspective again. But, because I think it's important to have knowledge of other religions and that, but it is like, there was no option to discuss it at that maturity level even. Do you know what I mean? Anything before that, it would be like nonsensical because you're just a kid. But when you're a teenager with serious questions, that's where, when we're already afraid of being ourselves to begin with.
Yeah, and you don't really know who you are.
You don't know who to talk to about any of that too, because it's not right.
Well, and if everybody else is going through, especially if you went to a Catholic school or Christian school or anything like that, and this is what you're learning, but say you've had these experiences, everybody else is being taught the same thing. So who the heck are you going to talk to about it? Right. Especially if your parents are in it, people are in it, and then it's like, okay, but it's black and white, so there is no gray area. So it's like and it's deemed as bad. So it's like, well, if I even talk about it, that's probably bad.
You're going to be condemned.
Exactly.
Or even having the thoughts. Oh,
who knows?
I've got one thing to add to that too. Like, even though we're not like, because that world wasn't supported for us by other people, I've had 2 instances in both our elementary school and high school that confirmed spirit was real. And other people knew about, like, not about me, but like knew about the areas in the school that were considered like more haunted or spiritually active. Like do you remember like the young kids bathroom at St. Augustine? That was considered haunted because of Bloody Mary in the
I remember that stuff.
And then that bathroom was always just like super weird. Like, you just walked in and you were not comfortable in there.
But I feel like that
something
has
bad was in there.
That has to do with the people of fear coming in there at that vibration, and like that's what's left there.
Well, you just keep amplifying it.
That's right.
Exactly. Totally. Everybody just keeps adding that energy to it.
Absolutely. But no one ever debunked it and said like, no, it's not real. Everyone was just like, yeah, that's the haunted bathroom. You're like, okay.
You live closer there. Why don't you go in there and just like sage it a bit?
By myself.
I'm sure it's the same state.
Adult. Just going in there. I'm just gonna
check out the school. Where's your washroom? Oh, okay. Oh, little.
1 second. I just need to go in there.
Right? Exactly. I'm just to here. Yeah.
And then in high school there, I was in photography for a couple of years, and there is one photo lab that you go, because like this is when you had film. This is before digital.
Yes.
Dating me, but
not that long ago, but long ago enough.
Long enough dated me,
right? So we would go into these like the dark rooms to do your film and stuff like that, so nothing was wrecked. But in the one, there was always orbs. I remember looking up and just seeing like at least 50 around, but they weren't dust because they weren't coming down, they were just hanging out. And I remember being like, because I was with a friend, because we were both trying to go through our stuff in there, and he's the one who's just like, look, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But like, did we talk about it with anyone?
No, exactly.
Just him, your safe friend, who also saw it.
That's right. Yeah. And could I be wrong? Like, do I know this friend?
You keep it.
Yeah.
Barry?
No, Jody.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But also like, okay, I get his character that too. Okay, that's neat.
Right?
Yeah. That's crazy. But again, a very like active room of energy, even though it's a quiet, dark room, it's like photos capture
memory
that by again that there's
an
a lot
imprint.
of energy being the transfer of energy
there.
Right?
So, but again, never scary, but it was just like, oh, I like this.
See how calming that was, even though there's 50 hanging out in there.
Exactly.
Knowing what I know now, I'm like, why weren't you alarmed?
Exactly.
This was like a cubicle. Like,
that's probably because of the vibration. That's all. It was because of the moments that you had in there, and
totally,
like what we were saying earlier. So it's lovely.
Exactly.
Lovely.
Maybe they're hanging out in there to bring people comfort for being claustrophobic or something. I don't know.
No, you are hanging out in the dark.
Do you think they even use that anymore?
Or they're all like, oh my god, I'm even coming in, let's get in.
I couldn't tell you where to find it in that high school, Jess. I couldn't tell you. It's like a secret room.
I know.
It's like Harry Potter.
But like chances are I doubt that our old high school like would pay for like film anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm like, why would they? Why? I don't know. It's a whole thing. When it's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Now that we've gone off the rails on your questions
again. I don't know what the question was, but that's okay.
I don't even know. We just
I do remember
somewhere.
It was Shelly was talking about like how you became intuitive and then we went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I asked a question about did you have many experiences growing up?
And we have.
And we have.
Probably
yes. More than, and I'm sure if we sat here long enough, we could probably dissect more, but it's like,
yeah. It's amazing. I just love it so much. I just love hearing other people's stories too.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we feel about your podcast. That's why I bug you constantly. Be like, please tell me the scary shit. Tell me everything. I want to know everything.
Yes, I know. Actually, when you were on our podcast and you were talking about the face on the door, or like Mary on the door, and you'll have to go to our episode to find out what the story is.
Yes, because we haven't shared my story on Empath Sisters, so you'll have to go to theirs.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's where the good dirt is.
Yeah, a girlfriend of mine was listening to it, and she's like, the second that came up, I had to turn it off. It was just too real. I just couldn't. She's like, I've had that feeling, but it was like she's just like, I think she felt recognized. Yeah. I mean, it was like. So I think she's gone back since and listened to it, but she's like, but like I couldn't believe what she was saying. I just couldn't believe it. She's like, it was like my own experience was being told to me. I'm like, okay, well then, interesting.
Well, tell her to get in touch with me.
I will. Exactly. Oh,
Jessica, who was it?
I shouldn't say her name.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know. I shouldn't exactly be like, yo, you're on pod.
Well, that's silly. We could have given her a free shout out.
Josie. Up, girl. Yeah, it's all good. I don't know. Well, you've met Josie. I don't know if you have. Like, I don't know.
No, I haven't. No,
there you go. I went from not saying her name to saying her name like 3 times. Yeah, so, exactly.
Oh
she'll just show
gosh.
up like Beetlejuice. It'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
Anyways.
my gosh. When you guys were growing up, did you guys ever play with, the Ouija board?
There was a Ouija board that came into our house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey?
Yep.
Did you have a negative experience with yours as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was my birthday one year. Jessica, I don't know if you were in the room. This was when we were
downstairs.
9, yeah, it's in my room. And
yeah.
I remember this was shortly after The Ring came out, and that was like the craziest scary movie I'd ever had seen to that point of my life.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I love horror movies. I love the adrenaline of fear, but like, holy cow, it just changed how I thought about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I remember with the Ouija board at that point.
You're crazy.
I know. I'm just like, wow. I can't even. I was like, that movie was.
I watched them by myself. I watch horror movies and horror shows by myself. Oh, my guy? No, my guy will never watch them with me. I watch them by myself at night before I go to bed. Do I have nightmares? Yes, but it's okay.
It's just her. It's just her. It ain't me.
That
I'm like,
so
I like rainbows and like butterflies, but don't hurt the dog. God forbid.
Yeah, no. If there's any hurting of animals, I'm out. But like, otherwise, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yes.
Oh my god,
I love it. It's people are so screwed up. I love it. I love how the brain works and created all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So when we were playing with the Ouija board, I don't really think anything was coming through because I didn't feel anything. But my one friend started like just acting as if she was the girl from The Ring. She had like long dark hair and she like put over her face. And then she started making like the weird movements because she could. And it just freaked me right out that I started instantly bawling, which is something very out of character that I wouldn't think bother me, but it just like triggered me so bad. And
my gosh.
That was the one and only time that I had brought a Ouija board into the house. I think that was Marcy's actually.
Yeah.
Okay, did she actually just do that to scare you, or
I think so.
Yeah. Like,
let's hope so.
Just
let's hope so.
Go there for a second. As a friend, never do that to someone.
But she was one of those friends that's like, whatever.
It was like your 13th birthday, 14th birthday, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Like kids are whatever.
Silly.
Yeah.
It wasn't trying to be hurtful, but you know how you just want to get a laugh. It's like, silly.
Yeah. Honestly, I know this sounds terrible, but I probably would have just kicked her.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm really bad because I couldn't calm down. So
just like, anything to like protect myself. Either I would have ran away or to like try to fight. you know, because I've been like, I definitely wouldn't have shut down because it would have freaked me out even more. I think I definitely would have picked one or the other, where I was just like, I can't even handle this.
Yeah. Needless to say, that was like the first and last time in the house anyways. But like,
in the house.
I mean, in our professional careers, I would say like we have dabbled on ghost hunts and that, but I personally will not buy one.
No, I won't bring
one into my home.
House.
Good.
I ain't got no interest in that. Like on ghost hunts with correct supervision and like protection, you know what I mean? Under like a responsible
someone who's properly cleared it and understands how to navigate.
Exactly. With the proper crew as well. Like I don't want to go with amateurs and like open God knows what. It's like, no, like I only do it with, honestly, there's only like a few people that I trust to do that with.
Yeah.
That sounds bizarre, but it's
no, you need your strong circle.
Yeah, exactly. Like but I have no, I think because, and there's other ways to communicate with spirit. I think that's maybe where I'm like, I can see a better path with the others than I do with because like I said, you don't know who you're talking to or what you're talking to.
You don't.
Why communicate through that portal when you already can?
Yeah,
exactly.
You know,
exactly. They're giving you signs already. They're telling you what you want.
My team would probably slap me. Not that I ever would, but you know, they would be like.
Did you guys ever have a Ouija board in your house at all?
I did not.
No, I just was the only one that had that experience. And I don't even think our brother did either. I'm pretty sure he never didn't have one. It wasn't even mine. It was my girlfriend's who then gave it to me because she was like, I can't get rid of this thing. You have it. And then I was stuck with it. And it was like, I don't know.
I think
but it was part of my experience. So
yeah, I think for us, for siblings, I think we just never, we knew about it.
Yeah.
But we also knew that, well, I don't know. Like, I think that you would have known that it was bad. Like, it was almost like we already knew that it was bad anyway. Like, we just did not.
Okay. I didn't know that because I feel like how I grew up was very sheltered. Like, I wasn't exposed to a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea what Ouija board was. It was just like, oh, cool. But for me, it was like, oh, I already I've seen spirits. So like, to me, it was like something that what I thought at the time was already something that was like kind of my language. Like I grew up like, oh, you want to play a board game that talks to spirits? That's cool because you're the only friend that actually like understands spirits because I've been seeing them my whole life, you know?
Yeah,
so
cool.
So it was just thinking something like that. And then I remember the first time playing it with her and then it was just like, WTF. Like it was like instantly I got that feeling. And then it was the creepiest, horrific feeling in my body. And I just went, no, okay, no. And then I never wanted to play it again. She kept it, probably played with others. I'm not sure or what. And then she was just like, I went over once and she was like, here, you take it. She goes, I can't get rid of it. And I was like, what do you mean you can't get rid of it? She goes, watch, I'll show you. And then that was our first experience where we went from her bedroom, carried it. We went through the kitchen, down the steps, out the side door, around the back of the house, to the alley. She opened the metal lid, shoved it in the garbage can, plunk. We walked back in and she goes, watch. And I'm like, watch what? And we went into her bedroom and it was sitting on her bed.
That would have been so wild.
And then
I can't even imagine.
I was like, oh, but then I kind of knew like so I started putting things together of like, oh, I had a really bad, creepy feeling with this thing. So like,
so let's
the fact that it's coming back, I'm just like,
How long did you have it for before? Because I feel like it was your grandma that had eventually taken it from you, right?
Yeah. And that would have been grade 8 when I moved in with my grandma. And this was grade 6.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And to think, between grade 6 and grade 8 wasn't great years for me either.
No.
Personally, honestly.
Oh, wow.
I had like tough times. I even had to go live with my sister.
Yep.
So.
Well, and I wonder if that Ouija board created such a bad cloud over to influence a lot of that.
Oh, it's quite possible.
Oh, very
quite possible. Yeah, it was just not a thing. So I was just curious if you gals, being sisters, had been down that road at all.
No.
So
technically, yes. Like Jessica and I did around her wedding in Ireland. We were able to go do a ghost hunt at one of these old castles there. And,
oh, wow.
With a guest that we've had before, Anthony
Kerrigan.
Yeah.
He's and like my local ghost guru.
Yeah, like he's the only one that I would trust with the Ouija.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he comes
he's
back
very
with all the equipment to be able to connect with everybody.
Yeah. So it's just
like
one of his
stuff and that.
Yeah. just one of his methods of communication, and like he's very good at it. He's very direct with what he wants, and there's no messing around, right? He's not there to just see what's out there. He's there for research, right? So very respectful. But I do think that like in Hollywood, it's been so demonized already that everybody has a stigma that they're bad, and I think in turn it could have been used in a light sense, right? It could have been, but I don't think that could exist anymore because of the stigma that has just been inherited, and they're still making these things, right? Like it's not like
they're at Toys R Us.
It's Hasbro. I think that makes them like they still sell and make them.
But that's like when we go back to what we were saying too before. You know, when people are putting association to something, they're going to create that vibration, and it's going to attach to that thing, and it's going to be even bigger. So this is why I won't touch. I will not touch a Ouija board just because the fact it already has something attached to it. Whether it's good or bad, it's just not for me.
I can throw a totally different perspective on this too from my own view. My own view is like, and maybe this is too far out there, but this is just a knowing that I also have for myself. And so for me, I understand light and dark.
Yes.
And you work with light energy, you work with darker energy. That's the difference between lower and higher vibrational energy. And so I also know that the darker energy loves light energy, loves people who are open.
Yeah.
And so you are more susceptible. And if you are not, aware of all of that, this is when that can happen. And so I also look at it as like, oh, this is one of those like lower vibrational trickery things where it wants people to open up and play. So it's like they can then have more energy, because low vibrational energy needs energy in order to stay as close to the physical realm as possible. So great.
Absolutely.
Get a bunch of children from Toys R Us that buy this game and bring it home. And yes, that is kind of where these things can happen. And so that's how I look at it, is like, okay, it can be used as an outlet to, why else? Yeah, that's just how I look at it. And I'm like,
absolutely.
It's a created in fear, right? It is produced in fear. Like,
that's why I said, like, I won't touch it because it has that attachment to it. So there's no way.
Not a chance.
There's a TK Maxx in town, which is like the equivalent of like Marshall's or HomeSense here. And they had a platter, like it was like a dining dish, and it was a Ouija board themed. Like it had everything on there. Like some kid with a biscuit could do that. And I'm like, and my friend Josie was like, oh, it's on sale. I was like, I'm not buying that. Like, no,
don't bring that shit into your house.
I literally was like, I'm not gonna buy it if it's $1 or euro or whatever. I'm not doing that. Like, no, like it's
you just accidentally bump into the table so it crashes on the floor.
Halloween costumes even as a Ouija board. It's like,
what?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's not something I've seen before. That's weird.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
It's that's like, why just anything to do with that.
No, have any of you do any of you know who Dave Navarro is?
Yes, I do. He's worked with the crew from Ghost Adventures for many years.
Of course he has. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, he wears the Ouija board,
like the
handle on his chain all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
I've noticed. I've seen it, and I'm like,
wild.
See, even that, I'm like, I don't know. Because again, it opens the opportunity. It like leaves the door a little open.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, to each their own, but
exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
on that note,
yes. Of opening doors.
Doors, yes.
Opening doors. We're kind of going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but I thought we would just on that note, maybe get you guys to pull your cards.
Yeah,
totally. Do we have a preference for what type of, because Brittany usually pulls like
whatever you feel.
I'll do what I typically do on our podcast, which is my spirit animal deck.
Amazing.
Because that one I love. It's a great theme of the week, kind of like I like to do it when I usually say like this is like the energy you can kind of take forth into your day or in your week and kind of keep it in the back of your mind. So I'm gonna shuffle, but I'm gonna mute myself while I do that.
Sure, sounds good.
And I'm going to choose, I always choose a different deck for every week, just whatever comes. And this deck, I would say, is one of my absolute favorite decks, and it's the most asked for when people come over to my house to read, but it's the Angel Answers deck.
Oh,
yes. Every
I've
time
never heard of that one. Who is that one by?
Radley.
Bradley. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and awesome. This is the deck that anyone who comes to my house, they just run and grab it from my bookcase. It's like, you're going to need to read this. I was like, okay. So yeah, it's amazing. It's the most clear. It gives you the most clear answers.
Okay.
Just love it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, so this is a very definitive answer. For anybody that's wondering if they needed a message this week, the answer is yes.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that couldn't be more clear, but okay. But I'll still read what it says in here anyway. Yeah, it's the yes exclamation point. Apparently there's a difference between the yes with nothing and the yes. It says like, bravo, the decision you've made is the right one. There's no need to continue to sort through additional options. You know what to do and you should move forward with your plans. You've made the correct choice.
Amazing.
If the task ahead of you is daunting or even sad, then proceed with your plans in a way that's still life affirming and self-loving. So
that's nice.
That's
nice.
I love it when it's that clear. Thanks, guides. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like whoop whoop. Exactly. There's no messing around today.
It's so like, yes, you better bring the banter girls back.
Right?
Yes, this was correct.
He will definitely be a reoccurring guest. Don't you worry.
Yeah. So I pulled from the Animal Spirit, I guess, kind of Oracle deck. Anyways, by Kim Kranz. I love her stuff, and actually, this deck is phenomenal. They just came out with a pocket version, which of course I'm gonna buy. Anyways, I love it. So it's all about like the elements in that. So I have never pulled this card before. And I love that. I love that for everybody. It is the dolphin card.
Oh yeah, you've never pulled that
there. I've never pulled that. So innately intelligent, healer, light, blessings. So I'm just going to read like the little like blurb that comes with it.
Sure.
The gifts of the dolphin are beyond what our human minds can grasp. Dolphin personalities are often drawn to the healing arts as they are sensitive to the subtle and enjoying working on the level of spirit. It's easy for dolphin types to underestimate the impact they make in the world. These creatures play such an important role in the wheel of karma that coming in contact with a dolphin type will change the entire course of your day, and thus your life. This card can also indicate a profound blessing is on the way. So when you're in balance, when things are good, an active healer, strong spiritual practice. When you're out of balance, underestimates own power. To bring into balance, like-minded spirits.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. That's the answer is yes.
I was like, that's awesome.
Like, okay. So anyways, I got chills with that one because you guys are like my little dolphin trio. Like,
the dolphins.
The dolphins. So I love that. I love
that.
I love
Very
it.
beautiful.
So good. That was so
awesome.
like-minded by people.
Up.
For sure.
That's so beautiful.
I love it. It's so God, I love this deck. I do. I love pulling cards, and I love that it was so perfect for today's episode as well.
Yes.
Like,
it always is.
I think we say it like often enough, like we love you guys, but like no, we fucking love you guys.
Like,
this is
like we mention you almost every single episode.
Like, because we're like our soul sisters, and like that's our group chat name. It's like
we're
like,
your number one fans.
I think we can easily say like, oh yeah, we love you, you know, like you do too, but like no, like truly our hearts love to like you have this space in our hearts that it's like I said, it's just natural, it's easy. You're our people.
It's true.
That's how I feel. Like,
well, look at last time I talked to you guys.
The
last time I talked to you guys, I was like, "Love you, bye." I was like, "That was weird." Like,
not to us.
We're like, not to us. It was exactly. Love you too, Shell. Love you, XOXO.
Yeah. And then we talk about her afterwards with Jessica, and I'm like, isn't she just awesome? Like,
isn't she just the sweetest little thing ever? Yeah.
I was like, sweet. Because I usually, like, I always say that to people when I, say goodbye.
Yeah. It's just so natural, right? When you have that feeling, and that just goes to show how much you like how much you love that person and how you feel about them, the vibration that you have, and then you're just like, yeah, love you, see ya.
Exactly. Our kinship is easy, I think. It's like
absolutely. I had a spirit animal show up yesterday. I came home from work and just talking and just to my husband on the phone. And then I pulled, just like gonna pull into the driveway, and there was a peregrine falcon sitting right on my, I know, right?
Not what you normally see in Mormon.
In the prairies. Yeah.
No, I took pictures of it, and it was just sitting right on the corner of my garage roof. And it was just, it had something with it. It was just sitting there eating it, and it was just hanging out there, and it was looking around, and then it would just go back. And I literally just like, I can't open the garage. Like, I just need to watch it. Like, I was in such amazement of it. It was so beautiful. And so I just like parked in the driveway, and I just turned my car off. And then I like called my husband, and then I let my husband go, and I called my son because he was home, and I was like, look out your bedroom window. I'm like, you'll probably see it. And he was like, that's what I heard. He said he heard some like bird, but it sounded different. He goes, it didn't sound like a normal bird. And he goes, I've been hearing it for like the last hour. And he was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and it waited for you to get home.
Totally. And it hung out with me. It just like watched me, and then looked around, and then just kept doing its thing. And I was like, wow. I was like, what a gift. So I did look in like my spirit animal book later last night, but what I remember, like I was just like,
or the big one that I have back
you
there.
could read that one if you want, because I don't have it.
I'd love to. I already found it. Yeah.
Awesome. When I looked online though, like I was like, I'm just going to Google, like, cause I was so curious, cause I was like having supper. And so I just Googled the, spiritual meaning of like this falcon showing up or whatever. And it was so cool because it was talking about how, they're very intuitive, and, they are, always like looking for the opportunity. Like they see things that others can't really see. And so they're opportunity birds. And so it's just like, it was saying, like, just trusting your intuition. There's opportunities, don't miss things. And it's also about like victory, guardianship, and protection. Yes. And then I looked up the folklore of it for some reason, which is so funny. We're talking about folklore today. So when I looked it up, it said that they're considered God's messengers.
Yeah.
And so that and so they're here for like protection and like bringing you a message or whatever. And I was just like, wow, it was so amazing. Like, I just felt like so like humbled yesterday. It was just like, oh my God, it was so beautiful. I loved it.
Well, what kind of jumped off the pages I went to see in my spirit animal pocketbook was like, be willing to face whatever is intimidating you or frightening you. But like it's time to act swiftly for your goals. So it's just like interesting. I love that.
And see how your like card even was like, yes. Like, do the thing.
It all comes together.
And get with your like-minded people, like just your intuitive side. So
if you guys even imagine if the four of us did a reading for someone, we would change lives. So
we should do that.
We should do
that. We will change lives.
Say we will. Yeah. We're going to open a business. This
oh my gosh.
marks the day.
Those readings would be so long.
Oh my God.
Just thinking
we would get
like,
one done.
Like,
it's an 8-hour reading.
Yeah. We
provide
lunch though. So
how would we all like be able to talk? We would have to take turns because we would just all be like,
Yeah, literally. Actually, instead of charging a fee, we could just charge them lunch and be like, we are ordering.
you just need to feed us.
You get to feed us. We will feed you the answers that we get upon receiving a food. There you go.
Food.
I'm down with that. I love food. So
I love food. Love good food.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested, you know how to contact us.
Just make an offering here.
Yeah. Speaking of, where can people find you and listen to your podcast?
Sure. Well, we are on all platforms. So that's like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the things. You just have to look up Basic Banter for Witches. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, Basic Banter for Witches, or at whatever. And you can email us at basicbanterforwitches@gmail.com. And we always say we love getting messages. If you
we love DMs.
Want to reach out, we love them. We just do. Yeah. And we always, as well, you never know who you're talking with.
Yeah, we'll add everything into our show notes so that people can, reach out to you guys and listen to your fabulous podcast. I know,
love it so
quite
much.
A few. I think personally, I know you said this in the beginning of our podcast, at the beginning of this episode, that you don't think you're funny, but I think you guys are funny.
Yeah, I think you're funny. You're so funny, and it's just like it's you're funny, and it's just easy, and it's just like you're just. when you listen to it, it's like you're just hanging out with them. Like
That's
them,
what
which is
wanted.
you, right? It's just, it makes people feel like they're just hanging out with you, which is just awesome.
That's why we like we hit record so early before our show starts, because I'm like, we could just be chatting. I'm like, that's gold. And so we can't talk. You guys are the same. We cannot talk before we hit record.
No, we can't talk about anything at all, unless it's literally about each other's lives that we cannot put on the air.
Exactly. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Which is
everything else is gold.
But thank you guys so much for having us. This has been wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah. No,
thank you
for coming on. We just, love you both so much, and
sure
do this for a long time, and so it's our privilege as well. So
totally our privilege and honor to have you both on our show, and I feel honored and privileged to have you both in my life and on my journey as well. So much love to both of you, and of course my sister knows how much I love her, so I love it all. No, just kidding. I love it all. So I was just it was such a awesome day today. Thank you so much. My heart is so full. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, feelings definitely mutual over here.
Mutual. Yep, for sure.
Woo. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you again.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Empath Sisters today and joining us with the Basic Banter for Witches today as well with Jess and Brittany. And we are all sending you love, light, and gratitude wherever this may find you. Lots of love. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.